Thank you very much for being here, everybody. I want to just do a little thing to start. I want you to close your eyes. The feeling you're feeling now, everyone's feeling something, aren't they? Everyone feel the nerves. I want you to sit in that feeling. Attached to those nerves is a story. There is a story attached to those nerves, and the story is saying what we're going to do. Are we going to do Animal Day? Maybe we will. Alan Peasland's here, and Alan wants to fight everybody. There's some monsters here today. So there's lots of stories, isn't there? Have I done the right thing? Have I invested my money wisely? Why the fuck have I come all the way down here from Scotland, from Ireland, from Norfolk, from wherever you're from? There is a story attached to that feeling. What I want to tell you today is behind that feeling, just behind that feeling, is everything you've ever wanted to do. And it's that feeling that stops you mostly from achieving massive things. Because every time you go to the edge of a comfort zone, you feel this feeling and it makes you back away again. And today you've broke through that feeling to be here in Coventry to do this course over a 6-month period. And you're going to get this feeling quite a lot over the next 6 months. But this feeling now, I want you to kill the story. Just kill the story. I want you to go into the centre of the feeling, go into the very centre. Just trace it back until it's just a feeling, until there's no story with it at all. This is how I overcome all my own fears. Obviously, I'm the same as everybody else, have lots of fears. And I overcome it by going to the centre of it and killing the story. Because I know what I want to achieve, and I know where I want to go. I know that I want to be on that dangerous edge. I know that I want to be having coffee at 2 in the morning with my heroes. I know I want to be on the world stage. I know I want to be global. I know I want to give metaphors to everybody. I know that I want to stand at the Oscars, and I will, with my Oscar, and I'm going to say to everybody, this is for anybody. This is not for the likes of them or us. This is for anybody. Anybody that's prepared to take the journey and step beyond these feelings can achieve anything they want to do, whatever they want to do. People think too small, and they think too small because they're hemmed in by this feeling. And there's only one fear. Everybody thinks there's lots of fears. There's one fear, and it's this feeling. Whatever you fear in your life now, wherever you're going, whether you think people think you're pretentious, or you think you're going to fail or succeed, whether you think people will like you or dislike you, whether you think people will beat you up or abandon you, whatever your fear is, it's just one fear. It isn't a fear of something, it's a fear of this feeling. And this feeling threatens you with more of itself. And for the night traveller, the guy that goes out into the night and hunts down his fears, he learns to face this feeling, sit in this feeling, marinate in this feeling, go beyond this feeling. I always kill the story, because the story will just make this feeling bigger and bigger until in the end you won't want to do anything. So go right to the centre of the feeling. In a minute, I'm going to get everybody here to do some full contact grappling in a minute after we've come out of here. Okay, what happened to that feeling? Did it just go fucking crazy? Just expands, right? We're not going to do any full contact grappling. There'll be none of that on the course. There'll be no animal days. Where does that feeling go again? What I've done is I've just took you out of the centre, and I've given you a story, and you've bought into the story, and that feeling expands. That's what happens all the time in life. We're going to do something great, and somebody says, yeah, but you know, it's a bit dangerous, it's a bit risky. You've got to be a bit careful. I mean, who do you think you are anyway, doing that? And so, as soon as they say that to you, that feeling expands. And when that feeling expands, it smothers us. What we've got to learn to do is recognise that this feeling has limitations. You need to master that feeling. You haven't got to master the 10,000 things, as Lao Tzu says. Lao Tzu calls the world 10,000 things. The world of 10,000 things. You haven't got to master that. You've just got to master this feeling, because this feeling is what is stopping you from expanding. My friend here brought me a book today from Uri Geller, Johnny, and he works with Uri Geller, and Uri Geller rang me up and had a chat with me. And I said to Uri Geller, because I'm always the same as everyone else, looking for mentors. What do I do now? What's my next step, Yuri? And Yuri says to me, you've got to expand. You've got to expand. And we're all frightened to expand, because as soon as we expand, we feel that feeling. And as soon as we feel that feeling, we contract again, because we're all frightened of that feeling. What we've got to learn to do is become comfortable with that feeling. So Why I'm really delighted with everybody coming today, because I think there's only 2 people missing at the moment, and there's always people missing, but just because of the nature of it. Some people just won't make it. Some people pay a deposit and don't make it. Some people get to the second session and don't make it, and it's all to do with these feelings. And that doesn't matter, because they can come back and try again. I'm not saying that's wrong, and I'm not judging them, because there's loads of times when I haven't made it. You know, so this is about taking run-ups and expanding and growing, as Yuri said to me, my friend Yuri, my very good friend Yuri Geller, who rang me up. You have to expand. Your reality at the moment, as Don Juan Matas said, is 1 room in a house of 100 rooms. What I want to try and do is help you to explore the other 99 rooms, and if we're really successful, get you out of the house. So one minute you're having, you know, coffee in McDonald's, the next minute you're at the BAFTAs sitting next to Johnny Depp trying to turn your wife that way. You know. So, you know, so it's all these different realities, so lots of different realities out there, and the more you learn, the more information you get, and the more you expand, the more you are able to see these realities and then to access these realities. You know, there are people at the moment who are planning to land on Mars. They're not thinking about expanding their business so it can turn over 200,000 or 1 million. They're trying to land on Mars. They're trying to put people on Mars. They're not thinking global, they're thinking interplanetary. You know, we had a young lad come on this course on the last one who started off, he's a brilliant lad, and he's someone that I've been mentoring. But he started off just wanted to be physically brilliant. But by the end of the course, he missed the last session because he was in America training with Bob Proctor to become a motivational teacher. And they were taking him all around America. And you know, he's just suddenly like this because he just saw it. But he went through a lot of confusion on the second to last session because he just suddenly realised he didn't want to be physical and hurt people. But then nor do I. But that's not what this course is about. And he went through the confusion, because confusion is always a precursor to something bigger. So he goes through that confusion and finds something on the other end. So you can have lots of different stuff like that over the next 6 months, and we're going to access all of it through the physical. Again. Beautiful. You can't train, you know, every weekend and expect to be world class. If you want to be world class, you need to be training 2 or 3 times a day. If you want to be world class in anything, you need to marinate in it. You need to live and breathe it. For me to be world class in writing, which is my intention, I need to be doing that 8 hours a day. I need to be watching films. I need to be reading scripts. I need to be working with the best people on this spinning planet. So I don't pretend that because I know I can be world class, that I'll automatically be world class. I've got to go through lots of doorways, lots of realities to reach that. And I've got to master this feeling, these feelings that we all get, these feelings of fear. So we're okay so far, so we know why we're here. It's about developing the self. Because first of all, we've got to protect ourselves against ourselves, because we're beating ourselves all the time with the wrong food, the wrong drink, the wrong habits, the wrong thinking. So we've got to start looking at that and not blaming her or him or them or it, not blaming anybody, because blame disempowers you immediately. It's about taking responsibility, and if things aren't right in your life, it's about you changing them. Not relying on anybody, it's about setting the path and heading towards it and knowing that you'll get assistance on the way, but not relying on people. The only way to grow is to be independent, and later you can become interdependent. Yeah, so we're night travellers, that's what we're doing. So, Al, would you warm us up? Thank you. Thanks everybody. So we'll have a little warm up and then we'll start.
So it's just like pulling, okay? Collar and cuff. And all we're doing is we're just trying a bit of grip. Just pull a little bit. Okay, move around. Just dead light. And then chain. Just go collar and cuff, yeah? Okay, one partner stand, arms out on the side, just stand the arms out to the side, okay? And all we're going to do is face the partner, come underneath, pick up, push away, and then turn around.
I'm going to start doing some punching, because that's kind of my specialty thing for physical self-defence. You get a lot of confidence through good punching, powerful punching, and we'll start working on the fence and restricted punching, and we'll expand that over 6 months, because my intention is to get people, to encourage people to go towards PhD level in punching, master the punching, because in physical self-defence that's what you're given. Most situations start at punching range, so it's about becoming a great puncher. When I was on the doors, I realised that that was pretty much the only range you got, and it quickly degenerated into grappling if you didn't use it really well. So we're going to look at the fence, we're going to look at punching. For people that don't know, we've got Glenn Smith here today. He's an old friend of mine. Glenn Smith teaches all the instructors that I've worked with, all the instructors under me like Matty and Alan and all that. Glenn's their teacher. Again, if you get a chance later, have a little rattle with him, see whether that can lead to anywhere for you. So, Alan, we're just going to start off just to warm your hands up, just really light. Just 2, 3, 4. Just nice, lighter. Cross. Still lighter. Cross. 2, 3, 4. Just cross, jab, cross. Just really light, nothing, not too much form, just light, just to warm your hands up. Thanks, Al. If you're not sure about anything, just ask. When you're ready. If it's hard to hold, that's good. It's going to really, just holding the pads is bodybuilding, and it's going to be a real strain for you, but you'll get it. Yeah, he's good, he's a good striker, but it'll really toughen you up a little bit. So the best way to do it is when he throws a right cross, meet it, and watch my breathing. And meet him. So you breathe with yourself and meet him with it, and it'll take the force off it a little bit. So after 35 years of doing it, and then 10 years on the door of making it work, I've come to the conclusion, learn to hit fucking hard. That's it, and be preemptive. It's about hitting hard. Nobody really wants to hear that because it's too simple, but that's the key. It's learning to hit hard and have the courage to be first. Before that, of course, you know, we're talking about physical self-defense. I want to go from physical self-defense to environmental self-defense, right the way up to metaphysical self-defense. And in metaphysical self-defense, we come back to the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which says everything is a projection of you. So when I thought about violence and practiced violence and read violence and watched violence and lived violence, I attracted hundreds and hundreds of people into my world to fight me. Whatever you think about, whatever it is, whether it's good or bad or indifferent, it will be delivered if you think about it emotively, if you keep thinking about it. So metaphysical self-defense says if you don't want violence in your life, stop thinking about it. The key now is for me, is to get you very, very good at punching, and especially good at one particular punch. With me, I went through hundreds of fights with a right cross. That was it, basically. And people said, Geoff Thompson's only got a right cross. Who gives a fuck? Who cares if he's only got a right cross? Andy Sherry went all through Europe in the karate, in the Shotokan world, and he beat everybody with a Gyakuzuki. And people said, Andy Sherry's only got a Gyakuzuki. Who cares? He beat everybody with it. And of course he hasn't. You know, behind that there is a whole kind of backlog of other techniques. You've got a whole support system of grappling and kicking and all that kind of thing. But for me, the shortcut is to become very good at one physical technique. Having a good physical technique isn't going to deliver it. You deliver it with courage. Because when you're standing in front of somebody and it's all kicking off, you will have a massive amount of fear. You will. And if you haven't, you're in trouble. You have a massive amount of fear. And if you can't overcome that fear, you can't deliver that technique. So that was the whole idea of Animal Day, 3-second fighting, was to build up the courage. That's why I ask people to volunteer. If I need a partner or if we're going to do something, volunteer, because that's you stepping in through your fear. If you have that membrane of fear all around you, the more you learn to step through it, the more courage you'll develop. That's where you develop courage, by stepping through that membrane. So what I do, excuse me, with fear, same as what a bodybuilder does with the burn, is I stand on the very edge of it, and this is what I do with technique. I get as close to as I can with it, and then I step through it, and then step back, and then step through it, and then step back, and then step through it, and step back. I want to do that 10,000 times so that it's easy for me. Physical violence isn't something that I fear anymore. I would still have normal adrenaline, but it's not something I walk around fearing because I did so much of it. By placing myself in a volatile environment, I was exposed to fearful situations every single night, several times a night. So I was like this all night, stepping through the fear, stepping back. And that's how you develop courage. That burn, that line that you keep stepping through, is what develops your courage. You get desensitized, you become familiar with that feeling. Most people are not familiar with that feeling. So when it's triggered, they have the natural instinct to run. It's not cowardice, it's just a natural instinct. And if you're fearful of something, go into it, stay in it. Obviously you need respite, you don't want to drive yourself insane, you don't want to, you know, it's the same as bodybuilding. You go into the burn, you stay in the burn long. But then you go home and you rest, you recuperate, you eat the right foods. You need to keep doing that. With fear, you need to take your rest from it. You don't need to be fearful every single day, although sometimes I think I am, but I have lots of periods where I'm not. And I also have to put loads of protein in to cope with that fear. And the protein to cope with fear is inspiration. You need to be reading books and watching films about other inspirational people. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just come down to one punch. Okay. Just the right cross. We'll do a bit heavier now. It's important that when you throw the punch, be in a small stance. We'll work on this over the next few months. Nice small stance, and exhale when you punch. Because when you exhale, you'll automatically inhale. You get body focus, you get Kim-A, but you also feed the working muscles with oxygen. So if you're not exhaling and breathing when you're doing it, you're going to tire very quickly. So a lot of the power is going to come through the punch. And what we want to do is we want to get looser and looser so that eventually we're not just pulling our body weight and our projection through the punch and all our aggression and our physical energy, we're also picking up the chi so that we're actually starting to move bits of earth with us. So if you do it properly, you should feel as though you're connected to everything. So just right cross up. Just light first. And you see I'm meeting him with my weight to give him a feeling of weight, so it shouldn't be flicking off, and I'm also meeting him with my breath, so it's a workout for me. Have a good look at it. Bang! Really better. That's it. Feel that one? That's what I want. That's that spark. Okay, so give him nice loads of weight on it. If you've only got one really powerful punch, it will take you all around the world, wherever you go, wherever you are. This has never failed for me. Only once, as Trevor Roberts said, and that was on a statue in Belgium when I was pissed. So it will work anywhere, it speaks any language, but you need to perfect it here. You need to get the perfection of it here. And it's not about male or female, and it's not about body weight. It's about the fact that you project everything you've got. Or if you're female and you think that hinders you, it doesn't, it makes no difference. It's just about moving body weight, about dropping your body weight through. Did you want to hit one shot for me? You okay? I know you haven't got your gear on. I'm just going to demonstrate this because Sharon hasn't warmed up, and that you shoot for about 15 years. So you shouldn't have to warm up. Just do a cross. More. Okay, thanks, Shaz. Over then. So whether you're short range, long range, whether you're male or female, it's just about the fact that you should be here and you should just be able to go boom, from nothing, from cold. What I want to encourage you to do through the course is pick up on something bigger, something which is what they call ki or chi. And the way I do that is to practice restricted punching. And the reason this is important is because everyone in this room at the moment is restricted in some way in their life, with fear, with health, with relationships, with money, with the environment. Everybody here has a restriction, everybody. Everybody's somewhere they don't want to be, or they're doing something they don't want to do and they want to get through it. What I'm saying is that within that restriction, there is gold. Every restriction has something massive in it waiting for you. So you get somebody like Lance Armstrong, whose restriction was cancer, and from that restriction, he didn't just win the Tour de France, he won it 8 times. He was so prolific, he was so good on this tour, that they changed the route 4 times just to give other people a chance. So people say to me, oh, I had a bad upbringing, congratulations. I was sexually abused when I was a kid, congratulations. You know, my mum and dad treated me terribly, locked me in a cupboard, congratulations. You have something, you have traction, you have something to push from, you have a reservoir to use. So everything behind you can be used to push you forward. So if you have a bad background, great, that's a great start. If you haven't got a bad background, it will be actually harder. Because most people I know with a privileged background have no traction, have nowhere to go. They're so comfortable that they have no compulsion to go forward, they have no propulsion. So we need to use everything you've ever done, everything that's ever happened to you, channel it up, use it, and it will take forward. There's a part of you that you need to bring forward. And the way to bring that forward, if you imagine that this is your comfort zone, right? Every time you go outside of a comfort zone, part of your ego gets burnished away. It gets burnt in the atmosphere, in the stratosphere. It gets burnt off. So the more times you can come in and out of comfort zones, the weaker the ego becomes and the bigger your horizons become. The more you sit and nourish that part of you that is a master thinker, the more that will grow. So if you imagine that that's the ego fronting you and everything behind it is the self, what you do is you weaken that so that the self can come forward, and then the self controls everything. And that's when you start creating things that just, you know, miraculously come into your life. That's when you have control of everything. So the kingdom of heaven is in us. The power is in us. But it's guarded by a gargoyle, because fear is the only thing that's stopping you. And we're going to do that, as Dan Inosanto said, everything comes through physical, because we are in a physical incarnation. So we're going to work through physical. If you can become a master puncher or a master grappler, you find that the ego shrinks and the self expands, because you don't feel threatened and scared all the time. You suddenly think, oh, if I can master this, then I could master that. So if I'm a terrible grappler and I want to be an international standard grappler, then I can go and train with international people and become an international standard grappler and become a new person. That is a new reality, a completely fresh reality. Same as with punching. Same as when I was on the building sites and I wanted to be a doorman, and everybody laughed at the fact that I wanted to be a doorman. But then when I became a doorman, that became a new reality for me. Suddenly that was a whole new reality. And all the fears that I had about doing that were burnished. They got lost in the stratosphere. They were burnt off because I went through that fear. And suddenly you're standing there thinking, well, if I can do this and people are threatening to kill me, then I can do anything. There's nothing I can't do. You know, when I went on television the first time, on live television on Richard and Judy, people were saying, oh, you know, what happens if you slip up and you freeze? And I said, well, you know, Judy Finnegan's not going to stab me if I make a mistake. Richard Mays is not going to stamp on my head and throw me off a balcony if I make a mistake. The worst thing that can happen is a trip up, and I can live with that. Because if I trip up and make myself look silly, that's good, because that's just ego being burnished again, being burnt off. So it gives you a great perspective. So that's what I would encourage you to do, is really excel in this physical stuff. Master it. You know, you've got to piss excellence. And then once you've got that, that is your foundation for everything else. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do restricted punching. And the idea of restricted punching is to pull chi through. And the idea of restricted punching is that you look at this and think, this is the same with everything in my life. If I'm restricted with finance, somewhere within that restriction, there is a door out. But it's within the restriction. It's not out there. You don't find it by going on the dole. You find it by sitting in your present situation and marinating in that darkness and finding that doorway out. The moment you sit down, straight away you think to yourself, I'm not going to get no power from here. It's a horrible feeling. And this is where I want you to be, because this is where you are in other aspects of your life. So we're going to punch from, again, we've got to come down to his weight, give him some weight. More. More. You notice what we do, as soon as we sit him down, everything changes. The shape of his punches changes, his posture changes, and he's pulling energy through other places. That's what we're doing. Then just try it again now. Right, really bring it. More. Okay, so let's start with that. There we go. Give him a bit more weight. Good. Feel the difference there? Much better. It's really good. So when you meet it with your breath and your weight as well, but give him some breath with it and really encourage it through. So we'll do the same now from kneeling. Max out. That's it, it's beautiful. That's what we're looking for, that impact, that sound. That's it, uppercut it. Really relax now, really Chinese. Good. Better. Again. More. That's much better, that's good. Really nice punch. With your partner, find a space against the wall. Always relate it back to your life. If you're just doing it as a physical technique, it's not enough. It will never sustain you. What's it teaching you? What's it showing you? If you're pulling your punches, are you pulling things in your life? You know, are you pulling back in life? Are you not committing in life? You know, if you're burning out too quickly, is that what you're doing in life? Are you going into stuff and burning out and exhausting yourself rather than thinking about solid longevity? What's it teaching you? And if you're starting to find some power through this restricted type punching, then where can you find power in the rest of your life? Is it your finances? Is it your relationships? You know, what part of yourself? Is it your personal habits? All self-defense starts with defense against the self. So if we were just doing punching, it would never be enough. It's about what it's going to teach you about you. What's it telling you about you? Over the last 2 or 3 courses, some of the changes on the people on these courses has been nothing short of miraculous. People going off in all sorts of directions because they get here and they suddenly think it's not about the fighting. It's never going to be about the fighting. All I'm doing is just tensing on impact. If you put this in the magazine, people would call me an amateur. But let me tell you, this amateur's knocked out lots of big girls.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So it's about being really relaxed and getting impact at the end and letting your body take you there. Hit! And hook. Hit! And cross. Hit! Relax. So when we do it now, we're going to do it with no restriction. I want you to feel relaxed, and I want you to feel exploding on the end. Again. More weight, more. Give yourself distance, more. Okay, nice and light. Better. See the difference? Take it all the stuff about being female, height, weight, and just think explosion. You're a monster at the point of this punch. Okay, that's good. That's good. I want to watch this punch. This is a great punch. Breathe. More breath. More. Right, let the breath know. We want to make the breath big. We've got to make the breath big. We've got to not care who's in the room. We make the breath big. Yeah? And if you're under pressure, if anyone's feeling uncomfortable, That's good. Someone said to me the other day, I don't want anyone in my class feeling out of the depth. I want fucking everyone in my class feeling out of the depth. How are you going to grow if you're not out of your depth? How are you going to grow if you're not uncomfortable? It doesn't mean that you're uncomfortable all the time, but you will not grow if you're comfortable. There is no growth in comfort. So I'm looking around and I'm seeing people really working hard, and I'm seeing some people feel uncomfortable, look uncomfortable. Remember, that's good. That's not bad, that's good. When I sat in bed this morning at 7 o'clock, I felt uncomfortable. But I do that every day with everything I do. I'm uncomfortable all the time. I said to Rick Young once, do you ever feel out your depth? He said, every day. Every day I feel out my depth. But we have respite, of course, we've got to, because otherwise you can burn out. But you've got to be uncomfortable. Celebrate the discomfort. Pat yourself on the back. I'm uncomfortable because I'm growing. That's the only place to be. Comfort is for the sheep. But that's not what we are. It's about being uncomfortable, wherever that is. Okay, give us some big breathing. Better. More. 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 Okay, Shaz, stay there, Emma. You stay here, Bab. We're going to do something now. I'm going to show you. Just going to see Sharon in the training gear. Yeah. We're going to punch and then we're going to shop. One of the things I'd like you to do as teachers, hopefully when you all qualify, is you go out and use these methods, because this is what I call modelling. And it's just, if Sharon punches, nice and light, and then Emma. See the difference in the punching? When as soon as you've got someone different to model, you can copy and follow it and let it through. And if somebody's not embarrassed to let the breath out, exactly the same. Still nice and light. Good. And again, big now. Bigger. Bigger. Again, big. Bigger. Again. Beautiful. That's fantastic, isn't it? Well done, Emma. Right. So what I'll do is Alan will punch once, and then you punch straight afterwards.
And then they'll do it properly.
Then you do it properly. So model. Again, this isn't about getting into the boxing ring, because this would get you slaughtered in the boxing ring. But if you watch somebody like Kirkland Lang, or somebody like, just trying to think, Sugar Ray Leonard, they were masters of this relaxation, especially Kirkland Lang. It was just like crack. I watched him on the bag once. It's just incredibly explosive, and the impact. But he was just completely relaxed. And Ali, of course, was the master of it. But this is about preparing you to throw an awesomely powerful punch, not about going in the ring. If you're going in the ring, I'd expect you to develop the ring skills. Okay, so Alan punch and then you punch. Ready? And then next, go. And watch every time. Let's get the discipline right on it. Hit and then straight over here. Again. 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 That's good. People think, who can I earn from? Where can I earn more money? No, who can you serve? Service is the secret to reciprocal, to the universe, this reciprocal universe. It's what you give out returns. Okay, so it's about finding more people to serve. I was just talking to Glenn. People need metaphors. They need stories to help them grow. And that's what, as teachers, is what we need to do. So when you go out there, you can give them stories. So at the moment, I have 70 versions of me in books and DVDs out serving. And they're serving 24 hours a day while I sleep. And of course, they bring me in revenue. But they're out there all the time. I've probably sold about 500,000 books. So there is 500,000 versions of me out there serving. That's what I want to do. I'm here to serve. I don't mind earning loads of money. I don't mind driving a nice car. I don't mind having a posh house. But it's about service. If this was about money, I would never be here. It's got to be about service. Money can attract people, but it's got to be about service. And if you look for people to serve, you will reap an abundance. It's about whether you have the shoulders to take that responsibility, because it's a responsibility. What you give out returns. That's not a theory. It's on every philosophical tablet. It's in every Bible, in all of them. Every wise man said it, but that doesn't mean much to me, really. That underlines it. What means a lot to me is that's how I live my life. what I've given out has returned. And when I give out violence, that returned. When I gave out negativity, that returned. When I started giving out good stuff, that returned as well. So it's about choosing what you want to do. It's about giving out good stuff. And as my friend Mark Wood said, it's about going through the narrow gate. Lots of people are called, not many people go through. Everybody goes through the big wide gate because that allows you to go through with all your fat and all your, all your addictions and all these kind of archetypes that are inside you. You can go through, but that leads you to nowhere. The wide gate leads to death. So if we want to grow, we want to transcend, we want to serve, then we need to go through the narrow gate. And the narrow gate is why you're here today. Everyone came through a narrow gate to come here. And that's when I say I admire you, I'm not saying it loosely, I mean it. I know how hard it is to do these things because you have no idea about what you're going to get when you come here. And that's why I don't put anything on my advertising about what to expect. Because I want you to be scared. And I want it to be a narrow gate. Because once you've been through this narrow gate and once you've qualified, which you will, because you're going to do 6 months and you're going to turn up and you're going to come, no matter how difficult it is, you'll make yourself, and believe me, there will be things that will jump in your way. Things will come in front of you, cars will break down. For me to be an embodiment of what I say, I need to be going out there and stepping into new realities and, stepping into fearful situations, expanding, so that when I'm at the Oscars, which I will be at the Oscars, and I hold my Oscar, and I'm going to say to everybody, this is for the likes of us. Like that lovely thing from the Ragged Trouser Philanthropist, it says, it's not for the likes of us. People like us don't do that. I was weaned on that. It is for the likes of us. When I hold that Oscar, it will open the door to success to millions of people, because they'll look at me and they'll say, there's an ordinary guy, good looking, granted, in shape, of course, but this is an ordinary man who's doing extraordinary things. And we need to allow everybody to do that, and we can only allow them to do it when we do it ourselves. We're going to look at the fence. Hello. So the fence is about, we know in real situations, normally start with some kind of dialogue. And I realised the person that won the fight was the person that controlled this space. This is the most dangerous area in a street fight. So the fence is about controlling that. The fence isn't about standing there in a photo shoot like that. And like that. And, it's about having, it's about controlling this area here. And you do that with talking hands. If you notice when I'm talking to most of you, that's what I do all the time naturally, is I just talk and I just control this. So although this looks invisible, it's impossible for him to move forward because it's solid. And also I can access big explosive punches from nothing because I'm used to restrictive punching. If I want to be physical, I can control on a cellular level. So if I pick my voice up, I can control his adrenaline and pick his adrenaline up. If I want to take his adrenaline down, I can drop my voice and be submissive. I can just be physical and trigger his adrenaline and trigger the flight response. I can push him back and create a gap and trigger the flight response. All of that's accessible to me from here, but I've got to have a mastery of this. And even people I've trained who have been really good, I've seen them in real fights, and this has suddenly become this. They've suddenly become there, and they've completely lost their fence. So it's getting this so it's so natural that you do it all the time. And then you can do it invisibly if you want, because there's a force field between the two of you. And the idea is that from here, his destiny is in my hands. Because I know I've got control, but he doesn't know I've got control. And I know I can knock him out or kill him from this position, and he doesn't know that. So the important thing is that you have control without them knowing. At a higher level, which we'll be talking about over the next 6 months, it's about metaphysical self-defense, which means if I don't keep thinking about violence, I won't create violence. So if I have an obsession about the physical response and I need to go into that, I need to learn how to kill people very quickly, and then I can let go of it. And you learn how to kill people by going into arts like boxing and judo. Judo will teach you how to kill somebody in 1 session, which is just by putting a strangle on. So if you just kneel down, Lou. So if I put a strangle on here, that would be unconsciousness in a few seconds and death in about 30 seconds to a minute if I hold that on, because I'm cutting off the blood to the brain. So killing someone isn't difficult. Obviously the act of doing it would be difficult. The actual mechanics of it aren't difficult. There's a massive responsibility with that kind of technique. So what I found is if you can learn to do that quickly, into that very fast, the sooner you know how to do it, and the sooner you've got the confidence to do it, the sooner you can let go of it. So the fence, I want you to have a little play around with this, and then we're going to hit the pads with it. It's just talking hands, however you want to do it. You can talk here, you can talk here, you can talk here. You have to be careful about too much touching in volatile situations, because as soon as you start touching, they knock your arm off. But that's one of the things I use if I want to find out if someone is, see what their intent is. In the pub, if he had a drink and I wanted to see his intent, if I wasn't sure, I'll touch his drinking hand. And if he let me touch his drinking hand, that means he'll let me walk him out. If he doesn't let me touch his drinking hand, then I know I've got a fight, most of the time. So what I'll do is if they let me touch that, as I'm talking to people, this is being tactile or anchoring in NLP. If they let me touch that, then I'll just start talking them out and walk people out of a situation, because most people don't want to be physical. But most situations, the moment you face somebody, you will know innately whether it's going to be physical or not. It's like dogs. If they bark and back away, they're not a threat. They're barking and backing away. If they growl and move forward, or if they're silent and move forward, they're a threat. People specifically. The real threats are the people that want to close this gap. They take down your fence and just talk to you. So let me do it to you, Lou. So they just talk to you and they come into here, boom, suddenly, you know, you've been headbutted. They're the most malicious. So that's why I don't let people touch my fence if I'm not sure. I don't let people get that close in a conflict situation. The people that do this, the people that posture and shout, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to stab you, what, from over there? Are you going to do it from over there, are you? When people create a gap and start to do that, they're aggressive and they'll trigger your adrenaline, but they're not a threat. They're not a threat because there's a big gap. The people that come closer and edge closer, they are a threat. So that's obvious. That's the obvious signals of attack. A professional attacker will normally zone in on you and come in and maybe ask you the time, ask you the directions. As soon as you look at your watch, boom, they explode. Massive explosion, massive adrenaline, and before you know it, you're back at home, you've given them your watch, you've given them your wallet, and you feel like a coward because you haven't fought back. Obviously, you're not a coward. There's no such thing as a coward. Your natural instinct, which is millions of years old, your natural instinct is to survive. It doesn't care about peer pressure and morality and ethics and what other people think. It just wants you to survive. So when you get that feeling of running away and giving over your watch, that's just your body saying, we need to survive. Who gives a fuck about the watch? You will feel like running away. The choice then is yours. If you can override that feeling, the choice then is yours to either step forward and do something about it, or give your stuff and move on. Everybody's idea of self-defense is different. Most of the people you're going to be training are people that are not going to be able to have a fight. They're not going to be capable of having a fight. Being in a fight is going to be like being hit by a truck. That's a fact. Me and Sharon went all around the country trying to teach people, and I said to her, this isn't going to work because these people are not prepared to train full time to make it work. For me to make it work, I had to train, you know, like a professional. Most people won't. They want to come on a self-defense course for 2 weeks or for 2 sessions and be able to fight, and they won't. So what you teach them is you teach them to avoid, escape, verbal dissuasion, loopholing, posturing. You teach them about attack rituals. You teach them what they already know. Our natural instinct is to survive. If that means if we're cornered, we'll fight. If we're not cornered, we'll run. So we need to understand that. So if we do run, we don't feel like we're cowards. And if we do fight, we know it's about survival. But we also can use that against other people. So if we want to posture, all I need to do, if someone's cornered, they'll fight most of the time because it's instinct. And if you create a gap between you and them, then it'll trigger the flight instinct. So when you attack them and push them right back and create a gap, and then make yourself large, like this, and then you start to posture and balloon, you trigger the flight response. And I've never pushed anyone back yet like this and done it properly. I've never done it and then step forward. And you learn this by standing in nightclub doors when people do it every single night. And they're back here, and they're like that, and they've got 3 friends holding them. If my friends weren't holding you, I'd fucking kill you. So you say to their friends, let him go, and he goes, yeah, fucking be back, I'll be back. You know, because it's like their friends let them go, but they're still stuck to the floor. That's because consciously they want to move forward, but their instinct is so powerful, it's compelling them to move back, because they're not cornered. There's no physical threat, they want to escape. So you can trigger that in people just by going from calm, excuse me for being physical though, from calm, fucking push back here and create a fucking big gap, lots of swearing, lots of salivating, lots of expletives, lots of talking to people that aren't there. You fucking stay out of it, don't you fucking stay out of it. This is fuck all to do with you, and there's nobody there. And this person's thinking, he's a fucking maniac. People can't cope with this kind of energy. You've got to be convincing, and you've got to make yourself big, because as soon as I push him and trigger adrenaline, his pupils will dilate and I'll become bigger anyway. I remember beating a gangster in Coventry once, and he sent a team down for me, and they couldn't find me. You know why? Because I was 10 foot tall and 5 foot wide. And they all walked past me in the nightclub. Where the fuck is he? Where's this giant? But to this guy I was a giant because I switched on so much. He said he was fucking huge. And sometimes people say, there was 3 of them. And there was not 3 of them. But they feel as though there was because it was so overpowering. You know what I mean? So that's what you do now. So as soon as you create a gap, you make yourself wide. And you've got to really mean it. Even kid yourself. Pretend. And this is something that you can practice. Okay, we've got ladies in the room, we've got a kid in the room. It doesn't make no difference. There's no ladies in the room, there's no kids in the room. This is exactly the same. This is about survival. Create a gap. Create space. Create space and make yourself big and be really fucking let it out. Let it out.
Stay there!
So even in a controlled environment, it's uncomfortable, isn't it? It's very uncomfortable. You feel that and you just think, it's really, really uncomfortable. So that's something we need to practice. People think it's bad etiquette to swear in dojos, but actually what we're doing is we're trying to recreate a real situation with all the knobs and buttons, with all the lights, with everything. We've got to recreate it. So this energy we're using to posture is just taking the energy in our body and making it into a shape. This isn't one of the shapes I want to make with my energy. But it's a shape that might save your life. What I want to do with this energy is I want to create metaphors and films and books and training sessions and love and all that kind of stuff. I want to create great things with it. But it's an energy that you can create anything with. So if you're cornered down a dark alley and you need to do something, this might save your life. And the physical technique might save your life. Certainly until you can master the metaphysics. And in the metaphysics, you won't attract people into your life to fight with you. And if any element comes into your life that is physical, you'll recognise it as a part of yourself and you'll override it with understanding and with love. And again, now I know that sounds quite corny, but it's a hugely powerful emotion. When we're talking about physical techniques, it's hard to talk about love because we feel as though it's a weak technique, and we think about forgiveness and we think it's a weak technique. But actually it's a higher echelon technique. That's where the real power is. If you want to lose all your friends, all your enemies may come friends. It's all about love at the top end. So we'll work our way up to that, and that's through understanding. So once you have a mastery of these feelings and a mastery of these techniques, and situations come into your life, you'll no longer feel threatened by them, you'll understand them. And because you understand them, you're at a higher level and you can deal with them a little better. And you're not going to go home and think, oh, that guy said this and he said that. You're not going to have the black dog, because you're just going to think, that guy that cut me up in the car, he wanted to get out and fight me, doesn't know what he was dealing with. So I'm going to let him off today. And I'm going to let him go back to his wife and his children, because that's how comfortable I feel, that's how good I feel, that's how much power I have. You know, it's what Don Drager said, if you're in a room full of people, then people should be better protected just because you're there. That's how good you need to be. And road rage, you won't ever see me in a road rage incident because it's below me. I won't get involved in it. I can't, because otherwise it's like some lower, you know, some kind of lower level entity or energy is pulling me by the strings. So I've got this fantastic life and I get out the car and fill in some guy because of a piece of road. It won't happen to me. And I'm not saying that I don't have flashbacks, and occasionally, you know, when I'm stretched and tired, occasionally I have flashbacks, but I correct it very, very quickly. So we're going to imagine that's the head, this is the body. This is when we're in a situation we can't talk it down and we need to strike off the fence. So we're going to strike off the fence. So what we're going to do now to finish off is choose a punch, any punch, cross, hook, left hook, whatever your best punch is, and I want you to work in time with me. Alan's going to punch, I'm going to count you in, I'm going to build the count and the intensity of the count so that you get more and more power. Everyone, let's finish on some of the best you've got, really powerful, really let it through. This is the last few minutes, so everything you've got left, bring it through. Listen to my count. Discipline, listen to the count. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, one more. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last 5. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, swap around. Ready then? Ready? Let's see, feel some power, give it everything you've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last 5, everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well done. I'm really proud of everybody. It's been a great session, great energy. So well done, everybody. Thank you.